The Fresh Prince, Will Smith, has released a new album based on a true story. And I'm not going to gas it up and say it's a masterpiece, but it is good. It is interesting. I mean, it's not up there with LL Cool J's album from last year, The Force, which, is an amazing example of a pop rapper having a late career renaissance. One of my favorite LL Cool J albums, and it came out in 2024. But it is interesting. Whatever Will Smith is doing, it's good enough that it's going to get a positive review. And for me to sort of spend some time to talk about what do we talk about when we talk about Will Smith? I had a similar framing for what do we talk about when we talk about Rebecca Black, props to Raymond Carver. But I think, Will Smith is a very complicated figure in American history. In American history, in hip-hop history, in Black American history, in male American history, just in general. I mean, he's one of the great cultural ambassadors in the history of it. If there was a Mount Rushmore just of cultural ambassadors of America to the world, Will Smith would definitely be one of those four heads. But what's up with him? Okay? One of the most popular questions on the internet is Will Smith a Scientologist? He's not. But that's the level to which we just don't know really what's going on with him. So, in order to figure out who he was, why not talk about, who he is, why not talk about who he was? He's one of the most important figures in pop rap. When I teach my classes on pop rap, I often talk about him. I often talk about this album. He's the DJ, I'm the MC, by DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Don't worry, he's on the back there. So he's not even on the cover of his first album, by the way. That's DJ Jazzy Jeff. That's Fresh Prince on the back. I just stopped by the record archive to pick this up. I don't know how I didn't have it. I remember my brother had this on vinyl, and this album, this is one of those albums where people will get really into hip hop and they'll be like, oh man, that pop trash, it's a nightmare on my street. Parents just don't understand. We all kind of clown on it, but come on. Truly, you tell me, sitting there behind your computer or in front of your phone, or God help you, in front of a television set, tell me you've never enjoyed a Will Smith song. Now, I am of an age where that album came out when I was 10 years old, and I absolutely enjoyed it. And one thing that he did was he did what most pop does, which is take something and make it universal. And somehow he managed to make pop rap universal while also having it stay black. It's interesting. He's a very complicated figure, and I don't think you want me to spend this entire time talking about the blackness of Will Smith. There's an FD Signifier video on the topic, Black Boys Are in Trouble. I really suggest you watch that before watching this, as a matter of fact. But, it's not just that he was a pop rapper. Of course, he then went on to do the TV show Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And if you are American, you might not even understand the importance of that show. It exported in such a major and meaningful way. My wife grew up in Serbia, okay? Well, she grew up in Yugoslavia. Then there was a civil war. There was a whole bombing. There's a whole terrible scene. And she grew up in Serbia. And I was talking to her sort of, when I started dating her, what do you know about hip hop culture, rap music? Because she really didn't know much about it. And really, Will Smith was her only real exposure at that time. I was speaking about it with her today, just a little side note, and she said, yes, it was probably true. That was her only real exposure to Black American history. But Black American civilization, but all American culture seemed so far away that she didn't even recognize that it was a black story. It was just an American story. And that's the thing about Will Smith. There is something about his Americanness, his optimism, his confidence, his power, his talent, his sort of just seemingly unending good luck and good vibes that just feels like he's like the great horrifying American Labrador retriever. You know what I mean? It's amazing to think about what he was able to do. Let's just take the year 1997, where he's in the movie Men in Black, and then he's in this album, Big Willie style. You know how people talk about going back in time? I would like to go back in time to 1997 and ask a 20-year-old Professor Sky dude, why did you buy Big Willie Style? You didn't like Getting Jiggy with It. You didn't like Miami. Why did I buy this album? I mean, looking at it now, it's not bad. Weird. Weird. But that's just it. He was so ubiquitous. He was so everywhere. He was a Tom Cruise level movie star. He is one of the biggest stars of my lifetime. And then there's the other story. I've told this story a few times, so I guess I'm going to flip my tie over my shoulder while I tell the story. So if you've heard the story about the French hunting cabin, wait for my tie to be back front, and I'll get back to the rest of the video. You can just do +10, +10, +10. Because there's this other story, there's this other side about Will Smith, which I think is always there. So in 1998, 1999, I went to France for a junior year abroad. I went and saw the movie Enemy of the State with Gene Hackman and Will Smith. I saw it at the Georges V movie theater on the Champs-Élysées. It's not more expensive than other French movie theaters, but it was a nice movie. The couple in the row ahead of me, there was some oral sex going on. I'd never seen anything like that before. It made me feel very uncomfortable, especially right after. Just, let's have some popcorn. Very, very kind of weird experience. Anyways, now that's the kind of star Will Smith was, you know, whatever that was. And so this has nothing to do with this story, but I went, there were some friends of the family of the host parents for one of my friends. And there were these like really stuffy, aristocratic style, conservative, rich douchebags from France, okay? Just like rich douchebags, it's an international union, okay? Like you can imagine what they look like. And they had a hunting cabin in this little part called, where even was it? It was somewhere in the southwest of France. Anyways, it was in these like little hunting cabins, and we were there for the weekend. I just didn't like these people, you know, they were rich and douchey. But one time we were having dinner. After dinner, we started having a conversation, and they bring up Will Smith, and it's this beautiful moment where we're all kind of like talking about how great he is and how interesting he is, and they were talking about the Fresh Prince, and they were talking about the music and the whole thing. And I was, you know, I had these guys wrong. You know, like this is the universal connection between us. Camours, who's in that Camours? Sorry, if you're French watching, I apologize for forgetting the name of Les Camours. And at a certain point, we've been speaking the whole time in French, having a little French conversation about old Big Willie, you know. And at a certain point, one of them just breaks into English and says, "But in the end, he is just a very tall," and then he drops the N-word with a very, very strong French accent. That ended my weekend. I spent the rest of the weekend in the little room, staying away from them, and I was shocked, and that was where I learned something that I did not learn, that I did not know, okay? And that's the other side of Will Smith. That's the other truth that to a certain extent, and this is what Jay-Z is talking about in 444, that there is a level to which no matter how famous you get, no matter how much acceptance you have, race can always be weaponized against you if you are not a part of the white supremacist dominant system, okay? And that's all Will's, like to me, when I think of Will Smith, I think of all of that stuff, all together, all of those moments. I think of how this man has like marked my life. I remember thinking when he was in that 6 Degrees of Separation movie, how it was brave he was playing a gay kid, but then he refused to kiss his co-star. So he was like simultaneously a hero because he was playing this character, but then simultaneously a villain because he wouldn't actually go the whole way. You know, there's so much mixed up in Will Smith. What does it mean to be a Black American movie star that can sell tickets not just in Serbia and in France, but in China and Japan? Like, are there other people like him? Has there ever been anyone like him? Who the hell is he? All right. And it all started as the rapper with DJ Jazzy Jeff. That's how we started. What are we talking about when we talk about Will Smith? To me, we're talking about all those things. And in 2025, after like 20 years, he released an album. He's back to music. Is it like LL Cool J? No. There's a story that he tells in interviews these days where he called Jay and Kendrick, all right? there's famous, and then there's calling Jay and Kendrick just for fun. And they both said the same thing. Just be yourself. Just whatever it is that makes Will Smith Will Smith, whatever makes you the great Labrador Retriever, whatever makes you the greatest cultural ambassador that America has had in the past 40 years, okay? Just be you, which is why he calls it based on a true story. So great, fine, awesome, wonderful. But don't forget that the issue with Will Smith, or part of the idea of Will Smith, is that, he's everything to everybody. He's a pop rapper. Pop rappers have to rap about anything. They have to be relatable to everybody. And what makes this album interesting to me is it's not about everybody. It's about him. It is I'm going to say this, a personal album from Will Smith. Okay? Now listen, it's not amazing, but it sure as hell is interesting. And there's actually one really good song on here. It's largely about his life reflecting on his recent public fall from grace. It's his My Dark Twisted Fantasy. Dear God, dear Sky, yes. When you're making your thumbnail, don't say this is Will Smith's Dark Twisted Fantasy. But I want to. It'll get clicks. They're just going to accuse you of click farming. But I can make the point. It doesn't matter if you can make the point. You're just being an asshole. All right, Sky, I won't do it. I don't know what I'll call this video. I won't call it that. Ooh, I'm so tempted, though. And it's like, really? That's it? Like, is it that big of a deal? You have to make a whole album because, like, you slapped Chris Rock? Like, the shark from Shark Tale slapped the zebra from Madagascar? Like, that's the big story? By the way, my wife points out, Shark Tale might be Will Smith's greatest movie. Good Lord. Have you seen Shark Tale? That movie is great. Super duper underrated. Like, is it such a big deal? And then you realize it is. Because everything I was just talking about, who is Will Smith? What do we think about when we think about Will Smith? When we talk about Will Smith, what are we talking about? We are talking about this figure that is like larger than life, larger than himself, larger than where he is from. He is this like level of superstar that is rarely humanized. And it's all on the charisma. It's all on the smile and on the voice and on the cool, calm confidence. And in the last couple of years, he's started to play this weird role of the magnanimous cuckold with his wife, which, as far as I can tell, he's being just a pretty decent husband who understands that people have a tough time in life. And like, I don't know, it's not my business. And then there was the slap. There was the slap, which again, you really need to watch Black Boys Are Not Safe by FD Signifier. He goes much deeper into it. But, it's a reminder that, like, not only is Will Smith a human being, he's a human being who grew up in the mean streets in an abusive household, a victim of abuse. He's, like, trying to overcome abuse. He's trying to overcome and defeat cyclical abuse. The whole time that we see him there standing next to Tommy Lee Jones going, grr, or next to, oh my God, who was in Wild Wild West? Kevin Kline. That's where you lost me, by the way. Don't, 1 second. When that Wild Wild West song came out, I wanted to slap Will Smith saying, keep Cool Mo D's songs out of your mouth. Because Wild Wild West, that was an old school favorite of mine. Anyways, I would not slap Will Smith. But like this slap, this moment of violence, like I thought about those racist dickbags in France. I thought about all of the stereotypes that he was fighting. I thought about all the pressure he has. I thought about his life as a family man, as a celebrity, as a black celebrity, as a male celebrity, as an American celebrity, all that weight on top of him. And then on the same day, he wins an Oscar, which, by the way, should have been his second Oscar. The movie Ali, the movie was not as good as the documentary When We Were Kings, which is now available on Pluto, so go watch that. But the performance, come on. I know it was like an Oscar bait performance, but how did he not win? Anyways, doesn't matter. It does matter, okay? He's a good actor, and he wins an Oscar finally for the first time, and then it's remembered as his lowest moment. So, hey, I'm interested. Like, what do you do when you are so famous, it is as though you are an alien, right? That's how famous Will Smith is. That's how ubiquitous he is. He is on that Jordan, Jackson, Tom Cruise just like super high level of fame. And here he is talking about his human experience. Now, does he talk a lot about his human experience? Not quite. Does he break completely out of his media training? Not quite. And that's where the album loses me. Because if he really went for it, if he really talked about it, it would be maybe more powerful. But that's the problem. Probably the reason that he smacked Chris Rock is that he's like, it was all bubbling up. All the bubbling. Like those guys in the hunting lodge who are talking to me have been talking to him and behind his back his whole career, his whole life. Okay? There's no amount of big williness you can be to avoid that. And everything just building up into that slap. So I do wish this went more emotional. But what does it do instead? Instead, he's like, well, let me inspire you. It's an inspirational album. Quote, the darker the hell you endure, the brighter the heaven you'll get to enjoy. I know you can make it. It's this whole uplifting album. And let me tell you why I like that. Because he listened to Kendrick and he listened to Jay-Z. Who is Will Smith? Will Smith was the face of cool, calm confidence, American optimism, Black American excellence, and a certain kind of charisma that is just, impossible to avoid, impossible to deny, all of those things. But then he's also this other side where he's the guy who smacked the guy on TV, and you realize that, to a certain degree, he has to be wearing a mask all the time. And so the real answer out of all that is like, you can do it. Put your way through it. You can do it. That's the album. You can do it. So listen, it's not like The Force, all right, where LL Cool J is like straight up talking about murdering police officers and like it's not that, but it's something interesting. And I will say, the new Will Smith. Here, I'm going to say the sentence out loud. Are you ready? Have I even introduced you to who I am? Thank you for auditing the Always Positive New Music Review Show, hosted by a French professor. That's how I ended up in that damn hunting cabin with those rich douchebags. That's who I am. This Will Smith album caused me to cry. I cried real tears pulling off of Jefferson Avenue in Monroe County. All right? Now, another question we might have about Will Smith. Okay. Seriously, I want you to get your fingers ready to type a comment in here, okay? I want your first take, okay? So I'm going to say, you just type yes or no, and you just hit reply right away and just send in that comment. And I'll forget what I was asking, and I'll be like, why are all these people saying yes or no? And then I'll remember, okay? Are you ready to type in yes or no? Is Will Smith a good rapper? Now, I don't know what you put. I imagine you put no. But there's like a metric for quality of rapper that I think we might need to say, like, ability to craft memorable lyrics. He is a GOAT of memorable lyrics, I mean, okay, are you ready? I'm gonna deliver this line with the wrong cadence and the wrong voice, and you're gonna be able to finish it, okay? Blah, blah, in, blah, up, west, blah, up, Philadelphia, blah, up, born, blah, up, and raised, blah, up. You finished it? Where did you spend most of your days? Were you maxing, relaxing, and cooling all outside of some schooling? Were there a couple of guys? Were they up to any good? Were they trying to cause trouble in your neighborhood? Did you get in one little fight? Did your mom get scared? What did your mom tell you after that? Okay? even songs that you haven't heard as many times as the theme song. Think about getting jiggy with it. Sig a cigar, right from Cuba, Cuba. I just bite it. It's just for the look. I don't light it. Like he's like one of the great cigar salesmen of the 90s, thanks to that movie Independence Day. And here he is, and he's trying to stay clean, but every single one of his songs, like, he has so many lines and lyrics that So I don't know, is he a good rapper? Kinda. He kinda is. Why did I buy this album? It's an interesting album. The whole thing's produced by Poke and Tone, the track masters. They made Juicy. the pop rap template of, simple sample and all that. They did a bunch of It Was Written by Nas, which is like my favorite Nas album, which somehow makes Nas fans more angry than if I just said I hate Nas. I like It Was Written. I don't know. But the difficulty with this album, I would say, is the producers are not great. They're not bad, but they're mostly produced by people who produce songs for his son, Jaden. By the way, not for nothing, I really wish he had named his kid Wicket. If Will Smith had named his son Wicket, it would have made my entire life, but that's okay. But my main issue is production. It's fine. The rapping's fine. It's interesting. It's a small view behind the mask. Also, worth noting, the cover is just him in front of a white background. I think he's trying to call back to this. And there you go. So it opens up with a track called Int Barbershop, Interior Barbershop, which is just this idea of a discussion of Will Smith. This is everything that you're thinking about Will Smith, all in one song, all in one fictional barbershop conversation where people are talking about Will Smith being canceled. Nobody's canceled. He's weird how he raises his kids. I heard he down bad. I heard he won an Oscar but had to give it back. And they only made him do that shit because he's black. He don't need it. He's the first to win a Grammy for rap. That's a fact. That is a fact. The song Parents Just Don't Understand won a Grammy. That was the first rap song to win a Grammy. And then these little revolutionaries boycotted the Grammys. Did you know that? They boycotted the Grammys because they didn't show it on air. Because back then they were like, well, we can't show the rap Grammy. No one cares about rap. It's not like it's going to be the most popular art form for the next 30 years. And it's this whole conversation about like how weird and bad he is. And they even make a reference to, you better keep his wife's name out of your mouth and how do they raise kids. And it's a funny sketch and it's well made and it's with DJ Jazzy Jeff. It's one of my favorite things about him that even though he is Will Smith, he's no longer the Fresh Prince. DJ Jazzy Jeff is the one doing the scratches on Getting Jiggy With It. Listen, Getting Jiggy With It, I've been trashing that song for decades, even though I bought the CD. Again, time machine, that's what I would do. But the scratching on it's pretty good. Like that might be the last popular rap song, the last number one rap song with like actual DJing on it. Also, in case you didn't know, Jazzy Jeff, he's a national treasure. He's like one of the best DJs that's ever done it. This is a pretty good album called The Magnificent Jazzy Jeff. Just picked that up at the Record Archive as well. Look him up on YouTube. Just look up Jazzy Jeff. Look up Jazzy Jeff mixing Peter Piper by Run DMC. You will be like, oh my God, that guy is even better than when he's being thrown out of the house by Uncle Phil. Anyway, then we get to the next song, You Looking For Me. And then this is that like kind of a la-di-da-di reference, a little stutter step. He's sort of being like, I'm not hard to find. He's sort of taking a defiant stance, sort of like this album flirts with like, you can't cancel me kind of stuff, but it doesn't really do it. But what I love is this lyric right here, okay? If I was you and I saw me, I see why you'd be aggravated. I took a lot, I'm back on top, y'all gonna have to get acclimated. Won't stop, my shit's still hot even though I won't get nominated. Personal life with my wife, mind your business, it's complicated. If he explained more of whatever arrangement he has with his wife, whatever that thing is, whatever the green table deal is, that wouldn't be Will Smith. Will Smith is saying he's drawing boundaries with you, and we should respect it. Much like my voice, his voice is a little bit worn out here. He's a little bit older. Cool kind of old school beat with the choir. Some interesting stuff. Then we get to the Reverend Rave sermon. There's a whole theme here of this like preacher who is Will Smith, who's playing this character. He's playing a lot of characters on this album. He questions his own authenticity in here, and he's talking about the a deserted place where one is in a state of disillusion. The interior wasteland is what he's talking about in this church organ. And listen, it's easy. It's easy to say, okay, we're talking about, what was that? Did he play a spy pigeon in a movie recently? I'm not going to say anything about it. He was in Shark Tale, and that movie was good. So maybe the spy pigeon movie is good as well. Then we get to Rave in the Wasteland, and it's just Black Skinhead. Just the production. It's just like the verse, everything. It's like, wow. It's just that. It's just kind of a cringy, trying to be badass chorus. But then I like the outro with the kind of churchiness to it. Now to all my peoples, there's only two things I know for certain. You either trust the Lord or you don't, and if you don't, good luck. Then we get to Bulletproof featuring Jack Ross, cool kind of stomping beat here. It's weird because he says #1 on the hit list. Get you on the Joker's hit list? When I shoot, I never miss like high noon. Listen, Mr. Smith, Mr. Prince. Did you know his real name is Willord? Like Wilord? Interesting. Mr. Willord. Don't remind me of the worst thing you've ever done. The worst thing Will Smith's ever done is not smacking Chris Rock or allowing his wife to have an affair with it. Is it a photographer? I don't know. It's not my business. It's being in the Suicide Squad. Can I even say that? Can I even say that movie without getting demonetized? Not because the word suicide's in it, but just because that movie's so bad and he plays the character Deadshot. Anyways, it's weird because the Joker's in it, deranged, and also Will Smith is in it, playing Deadshot. And he's fine in that movie, by the way, just the movie's so bad. So this sounds like this might have been a soundtrack, Bulletproof. Like, was this a lost Suicide Squad sound? I don't know, but then it's this cool kind of evangelical mode. Like, listen to these lyrics here. It's hard being a gunslinger, being trapped as a fun singer. For 3 decades, I've been a sun bringer. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to steal Justin Hun's shtick. 1 second applause. But that's a good lyric. 3 decades, I've been a sunbringer. He's a sunbringer. Will Smith, sunbringer. You can sum me up with just one finger. What? Okay, well, explain that, Will. Pick one, anyone. They all apply to me. Whatever finger you pick, just don't lie to me. Will, my man, I don't understand the idea. Okay, I get it. Like, there's the thumbs up, that's one finger, okay? Or there's #1 as in you're #1, or like F you, Will Smith. But how does this apply to Will Smith? How does this apply to Will Smith? Like, what does that mean? I don't know. Tell me in the comments. I'm not Will Smith. Cool kind of crunchy chorus. Again, this whole theme of learning through going through hell. And I don't want to ridicule him. And that's the whole point. Is it's easy to ridicule him as a super millionaire with a beautiful wife and very successful kids and the ability to call Kendrick and Jay-Z just for fun on a Tuesday. But this must have been a crushing blow to have worked so hard to build yourself up so far, and on the day of your greatest triumph, you have your biggest moment of ignominy. I don't want to put that down. I don't think that we should be mocking him for the fact that this was so hard for him. I think we require some empathy. Hard Times featuring Tiana Taylor. It's kind of nice. Overproduced. The whole thing's overproduced. The whole album's just a little overproduced. It's a lot about what he's going through. Sometimes truth can be savage. Sometimes life can be tragic. But we just love through the madness, through the pain, the mistakes, and the sadness, through the rain, the breaks, and the static, living in a world that attacks us. We stay centered with our hearts on axis. Man, he's just living that throw pillow slogan life. Why not? Beautiful Skaz featuring Obanga, kind of a gospel sample here. There's like a little rhyme run in here. It's nice. He does some kind of triplet flow. It's okay. Like, I don't think he's getting ghostwriters. I think he's just doing what he can. I don't know. Big Sean has a nice verse here. It's all about like your own. Okay, there's this one lyric though. Anything that is broken is mixable. Did you hear me? Are you understanding the implication of that lyric? Did Will Smith just sneak in a good lyric? Anything broken is mixable. He's talking about the nature of rap music. He's talking about Jesus Christ, guy. He's talking about a lot right here, because he's talking about the fact that things that are not whole, things that are not perfect, are the easiest to manipulate and turn into something new. That's kind of what hip-hop is. It's taking a drum beat from an album and mixing it up. It's growing up in a systemically ignored benign neglect of a post-industrial hellhole, and taking your upbringing and your life experiences and all these things that are broken and then mixing them into something interesting and powerful. Now that thing might be Illmatic, or it might be he's the DJ, I'm the rapper, okay? But that's what rap music is. It's like taking the things in America that are broken and the Black American experience that are broken and mixing them into something new. So it's a good lyric. Hey, I had to dig, but that doesn't mean they weren't there. He also says, top of the pyramid, I am the pinnacle. Every once in a while, I joke about believing in the Illuminati, and then people comment in the comment section, I'm so glad that you recognize the Illuminati. There is no Illuminati. So, and that's not a joke. I'm not going to make some kind of joke. I'm not going to wink. It's not there. There are shadowy forces that rule the world. It's just we know who they are. They're not hidden. They've been there for years. You just, oh, there they are. Okay, there's no secret cabal of anybody. Okay, all right. Tantrum. Oh Jesus. Now that I've said that, people are gonna be like, oh yes, Kai, I know what you mean. Anyways, I just mean there's no there doesn't need to be secret people ruling the world, because it's just very clear. Oh my God, I'm just gonna stop. I think the tie is getting to my head. The next song is the best song on the album, Tantrum, featuring Joyner Lucas. Cool, old school, kind of scary beat. I don't know. Why does my ego keep me ransom? Why does my fear control me at random? I enjoy it. You might relate to the places I'm coming from. I've been through trauma I thought I'd recover from. I got regrets. You heard about some of them. This is going to make my heart bang like a rubber drum. I will not sugarcoat this stuff with bubblegum. Going through troubles. I hate what the trouble done. I hate to be the thing that people suffer from. Hey, Will Smith, did you just make a fascinating song about the cycles of trauma? Did you sneak it in here in this whole song? Is that the issue? Is that the problem? That when you suffer from trauma, the main thing you're trying to do is not inflict that trauma on other people? And are you recognizing that it is actually maybe not entirely successful and you need to do more work on yourself in order to not inflict that trauma on other people, and that you hate being the thing that people suffer from because you suffered from what other people did to you? Is that what you did on your fun little goofy Return album, Will Smith? Is that what you did? Because I'm all for it. I hate to be the thing that people suffer from. And, Joyner's good. Joker's thinking it's sweet. This ain't no damn mimosa. This is aerosol inside of an Arizona. Dude, Will Smith, you're trying too hard. It's okay. First Love, kind of a Spanish song, Spanish guitar. I heard, I was like, but actually it's maybe the most interesting rapping on here. It's all about this like first love. And it seems to me like this is his like love song to Jada Pinkett, trying to get like that sense of what they were like when they first met. It's nice. It's a nice song. Made It Look Easy. This is a bad song. I don't like it. He uses the word ting like he's Drake. Haters acting like it's no ting. Ugh. I've been to Philadelphia a few times. I've never heard anyone in Philadelphia say ting. Because life gonna keep lifing, knives gonna keep knifing, spikes gonna keep spiking, and that's why the light's gonna keep lighting. It's the key to life. Be the light. Sing it like, God damn it, Will Smith. Thank you. Why not? How many uplifting rap albums are there really? Really? How many that you listen to and you just go, yeah, right? So why not? Then we get to the Reverend. Sounds like a Breath of the Wild violin and piano. Now that you've heard it, you can't hear it. Unhear it. Then we get to the song You Can Make It, sung by Rob Schneider. You can make it. It's not sung by Rob Schneider. Featuring Friday. Really nice voice here. The Sunday Service Choir. Very uplifting. This is all about that dark hell and bright heaven. Will Smith says, every storm runs out of rain. I never thought of that, Will. I never thought of that, Will Lord. I never thought of that. I feel like if you called him Will Lord in life, that might get you another smack. But every storm does run out of rain. I like it, and then breaks into full gospel bit, and then we get the work of art featuring his son Wicket. I mean, his son Jaden. By the way, if you get the joke about why it would be so funny if he named his kid Wicket, tell me in the comments, okay? Or Flitwick. He could name if he had if he named his kid Flitwick. Anyways, I really like this opening verse, kind of overproduced trap beats, but it's nice. It's like, I am the paint, I am the brush, I am the canvas. He's talking about like his life as like art. He says, I am real, I am pretend. Like he says that, like he says it. He knows it. He is real, he is pretend. Will Smith is real, Will Smith is pretend. That's who Will Smith is, and he's telling you that. What are we talking about when we talk about Will Smith? A lot. We're talking about a lot. Everyone wants to be a lion until it's time to do lion, and then he refuses to swear. Kind of a Jersey Club outro. I like his son. His son's good in here. Man, that Key and Peele sketch always gets me. It's funny, but I don't like it because, you know, everybody's going through, that's a theme on this album. That's on the next song, actually. Everyone's going through something, right? So, yeah, sure. Presumably, your life outcomes, if you're in that family, are going to be good. But you're going through stuff. Who knows what Jaden Smith went through? Who knows? Who knows what's going on? We don't know. We don't know. So we just can't imagine that he has some awesome life just because he has money and access to power. And then the album ends with the Reverend, this work of art sermon, violin, and Will Smith is the preacher. And what was the line he said? I am real, I am pretend. He's a real preacher, and he's a pretend preacher here. This is where I cried pulling off of Jefferson Road somewhere in Monroe County. Okay? Anyone who lives out here? The lyric is, you don't have to be perfect to deserve love. Have I ever heard that before? Of course. Have I ever said that before? Uh-huh. How many times have I cried just hearing the sentence, you don't have to be perfect to deserve love? I don't know what you've been through. I know what I've been through. And I know that for so much of my life, I thought I had to be perfect to deserve love. And I think Will Smith thinks that too, because Will Smith is damn near a perfect person. At least he was his entire life. No scandals. Voice of his community. Voice of the country, voice of everything. He was it. He was the top. He was the guy. Keep my wife's name out your damn mouth, slaps Chris Rock, wins the Oscar, all that. But he still deserves love. So I'm not going to make myself cry now. I could. But Will Smith deserves love. And so do you, actually. I'll just say that to you, too. I'm not saying I love you. I don't like when YouTubers say, I love you. I mean, I don't know you. I don't. But I do know this. You deserve love. So you can deal with that on your own. But if people around you, you don't have to be perfect, okay? All right. That was good. That was fun. A little sick. I got a little cold. But I wanted to talk about this. I had to get jiggy with it. There's the camera.